Have you ever wondered how each cell in a developing embryo knows its place, function, and identity? This is the enigma of positional information in developmental biology, a conundrum that has been puzzling scientists for decades. Once upon a time, the concept of positional information was relatively simple. It was believed that the information encoded in an embryonic cell determined the subsequent biological form of the organism. In short, it was believed that all the positional information of an organism was somehow contained within the embryonic cell. However, as our understanding of biology grew, so did our view of positional information. The positional information of an organism has refused to be reduced to the positional information of the embryonic cell. Neil Vargeson honestly admitted as much. In a 2019 paper titled Positional Information, a concept underpinning our understanding of developmental biology, he posed a challenge for the next 50 years. Specifically, he stated, "The challenge for the next 50 years of positional information is to identify the precise molecular controls that underpin positional information and the long-term stable memory of positional value in developing and regenerating tissues." However, contrary to his faith that a molecular answer for positional information may be forthcoming, there is good reason to believe that there never will be a precise molecular controls that underpin positional information to discover. In a 2017 video titled Design Beyond DNA, a conversation with Dr. Jonathan Wells, at the 40-minute mark, Dr. Jonathan Wells states, DNA does not specify the original membrane pattern, much less the subsequent ones. Relational biology focuses on the patterns and sets out to model the transformations of those patterns into other patterns. Relational biology uses a branch of mathematics called category theory, first developed in the 1940s to model pattern transformations. Category theory is a generalization of set theories. In set theory, elements of one set are transformed to elements of a new set. In category theory, the relations in one category are transformed to new relations in a new category. All the information required for embryo development is not in the fertilized egg. The transformation of patterns in one cell is transformed into new patterns in a new cell, and neither pattern is specified by DNA. Obviously, we have to add information to the system to explain the new pattern. And every subsequent transformation of patterns in the cell requires the addition of even more information. Now, what is the nature of this information? Obviously, this information is not material. It is not carried in the original fertilized egg, nor is it being added by the water in which the embryo sits. So where did the information come from? As a biologist, I simply can't tell you where the information is coming from. As a theologian, I might say that ultimately, the information must come from divine ideas. Indeed, the amount of positional information coming into a developing embryo from the outside is immense, vastly outstripping the amount of sequential information contained within DNA. Doug Axe, professor of molecular biology at Biola, states that there are a quadrillion neural connections in the human brain. That's vastly more neural connections in the human brain than there are bits of information in the human genome. So, there's got to be something else going on that makes us what we are. Riccardo Sabatini, a specialist in numerical modeling of complex systems, further emphasizes the enormity of this information. He states that the information to build a human infant, atom by atom, would take up the equivalent of enough thumb drives to fill the Titanic, multiplied by 2,000. Moreover, the information content that is found to be in a simple one-cell bacterium, when working from the thermodynamic perspective, is found to be around 10 to the 12 bits, which is the equivalent of about 100 million pages of Encyclopedia Britannica. And given that a human cell is 10 times larger than a bacterial cell, and that there are conservatively estimated to be 30 trillion cells in the human body, then that gives us a rough ballpark estimate of around 300 trillion times 100 million pages of Encyclopedia Britannica of positional information. Needless to say, that is a massive amount of positional information that is somehow coming into a developing embryo from the outside by some non-material method. So where does this leave us in our understanding of positional information? It's a concept that has changed considerably over time, shifting from the simplistic notion that all the information needed to specify an organism resided solely in the embryo, to realization that far more positional information is required than can possibly be contained within the embryonic cell. It's an enigma that leaves the reductive materialistic explanations of Darwinian evolution severely wanting, with a forlorn and misbegotten hope that an answer may someday be forthcoming for them in 50 years or so. An enigma which is also very comforting to the overall theistic belief stated in Psalms 139 verse 13 that God knit me together in my mother's womb. In conclusion, the enigma of positional information directly challenges the reductive materialistic explanations of Darwinian evolution to account for the staggering amount of positional information coming into an embryo during embryonic development. To emphasize just how misguided this effort from Darwinian materialists is to explain positional information, I simply note that it is impossible for that which is material to ever give an adequate account of that which is, in its foundational essence, immaterial, namely, information.